everyone, it's Lourdes from creativecraftsniche.blogspot.com. Today I'm sharing with you this cute little box that I made for Thanksgiving using the Stampin' Up! Gift box punch board and the For All Things stamp set, and the item number for that is 135155. I also used the mossy meadow ribbon. I put some bling, and I also used some baked brown sugar twine. Okay, so we're gonna recreate this box, but we're gonna make a different size box using the same size paper. So I used an 8x8 cardstock to make this, and then the leftover pieces I was able to make this tag as well as the layering. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with that. So as always, I already have everything that I need on their separate blocks, and so I will be using these stamps like that, the baked brown sugar and pistachio pudding. I'm gonna go ahead and have that. Actually, I'll open that when I'm ready to use that. We're also going to use the baked brown sugar, not now, Connor. Baked brown sugar, thick baker's twine, and the mossy metal stitch satin ribbon. I did not have an extra block to be able to mount it on a size stamp like this. I had the bigger ones, but I was able to use this block that you get from signing up with Paper Pumpkin. So I'm using that one. Okay, so to get started here, I have an 8x8 sheet of white cardstock, and I did, let's see, I think I did, let me see, I'm not sure now if I did this one or this one. Yes, I think I did this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. This is the second box that you can do. So I'm gonna go ahead and take out the bone folder that it comes with, and this says to start at line S, and the diagonal line is the large. So we're gonna go ahead and position this at the S, and what I like to do is this line right here, rather than covering it, I like to put it right in front of that line. That helps me get it better all the way around. So you're gonna go ahead and punch and score down, then score across, okay, and then score large diagonal, okay, and then we're gonna do that again. We're gonna position it at small, punch, score down, make sure that that paper is pressed up against that, score across. And for instances like this where you kind of feel where the paper is a bit too long, go right ahead and open that piece on the side so it'll be more comfortable for you. And then we're gonna score diagonally large. I'm gonna flip that one more time, line that up against that line right there, right next to it. Make sure that it's pressed up firmly. Punch, score down, score across, and score large diagonally. And then for the last time again, up against the small, punch, score down, score across, and then score large. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip the paper, and that will allow us to make sure that we're positioning this to cut this area properly. So after we flip it, again we line it up with the end of the small, the edge of the small, so you can actually still see that line, and you punch. You're going to flip the paper again and punch. Flip the paper again, and punch, and then flip it one more time. Okay, and punch. And so now we have everything ready for us to go ahead and use the other side of the gift box punch board. And these are all the scraps that are left. Then you're gonna turn this around. Hopefully you can see that in the video. And then for this box, it doesn't really matter which side you want to choose, because both sides are pretty much the same length. So we're going to have to fold these edges in order for this to fit properly. Okay, so let's see. Actually, let's make sure. Sometimes what I'm not sure, what I do is I'll flip it and I'll align it with that little notch right there. Okay, and then I'll punch it. But right now I'm not gonna do it that way, but I just wanted you to see what you would do. Okay, so just make sure that both your edges are aligned properly and punch. Okay, then you're gonna do right across and do the same with the other side. Okay, and punch. Okay, and so we're just going to do it for those two sides. You can, if you want, go ahead and do it for all four sides, but I'm just gonna do it for those two sides just because I learned a technique by a YouTuber, and I like that style better with the punch board. So if you have the scallop tag topper, you'll be able to do this. And so before we go ahead and bring this in, you usually have to trim this down. But as I was practicing today making the other box, I found that if I use my scoring board here, it would be easier for me to go ahead and sort of measure it so that I can be able to trim off, but we're not actually going to trim off. So I'll just align it at the 8 right here. Okay, make sure that that top piece is aligned at the 8, and then since I'm still here on the 8, I can make sure that this is actually aligned properly. Then I'm gonna come here and then I'm gonna count 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then what that's going to allow, hold on, just gotta make sure. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And so I'm gonna go ahead and score that right there, and that's gonna allow me to go ahead and fold that without having to cut it, and then I can go ahead and run it through the scallop tag topper with no problem. And so you can always just, you know, make sure that you got it right. at where you want it, and then you're just going to count 1, 2, 3 and score that. Okay, let's see, make sure 1, 2, 3. Okay, score that and then bring that down. Okay, so that's all we will need for the scoring board, and I'll put that aside. And then we're going to go ahead and bring our scallop tag topper, and we're going to slide this in. Be careful when you're sliding this in, because sometimes if you're not careful you can actually rip the paper. So you're just gonna go ahead and slide that in carefully, okay, and flip your tag. That'll help you see that it's positioned properly right there. And also you want to make sure that these score lines are within the center, okay, that it's centered properly on the tag, okay. And then you can just go ahead and punch. Okay, so when you're done with that, you'll get that nice edge there, and then you're gonna go ahead and do the same with the other end, and you just go ahead and slide that in. Okay, you see that it's flushed up against there properly, and then we want to make sure that those score lines are centered. Okay, and they are centered, as you can see. Okay, and then we just go ahead and punch. Okay, and so we have those two nice round edges, and so now we can go ahead and begin to score and varnish our paper. Okay, and I'm hoping that I am on screen still. And I don't know if any of you know, but I always post in my titles New York, so that means I live in New York. And so whenever I do my videos during the daytime, you'll get loads of noise in the background. Okay, so I do apologize for the noise in the background. Okay, so what we're doing is that we're folding that in just like that, and then we're taking our own folder and we're just burnishing it like that. Okay, and so that's already done. And then what we're gonna do is we can bring the box in closed, right? Okay, and then bring those two notches together to close your box. Okay, and then your box is closed. And then the top two notches, you can go ahead and color it or distress it. I'm gonna do the same technique like I did with my other one, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna color it in. And so I'm gonna bring in one of my old scraps here, and I'm going to trim this down because this is a pretty big sticky pad, notepad, or sticky note, however you want to call it. And then I'm going to go ahead and align it with that score line right above it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on this end as well. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my baked brown sugar and open that up, and then I'm going to use the edge, okay, to go ahead and color it in. And so I'm just going to color it in like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay, and so that's just going to give me a different look. I'm going to close it up for now just because I want it to stay juicy. I don't want it to dry up. And so when I remove this, we just have those ends that are tinted. And when we close the box, we'll end up with the same finish that we have here. And as you can see, this is a tad bit darker than this, but it'll lighten up. Okay, and I want to add a tad bit more on this one on the end, just because this right here looks a little bit faint. Okay, alright, didn't make much of a difference, but that's okay. And because these inks don't dry instantly, I'm going to set this aside, because with my other project, I began working on them some more, and what happened was I got a lot of smudges. And so I don't know if you can see on this one, but it had a lot of smudges, so I basically had to improvise and cover it up using another stamp set. And so sometimes our mistakes end up being, you know, a good thing, because we end up making the project look better. Okay, so this measures 2 by 3 inches, and we're just gonna slide it in our tag topper and punch. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and round off our edges. Alright, so we're going to bring out the watercolor looking effect here, and we're gonna use our pistachio pudding ink for that one. We're gonna ink that up, and then we're going to just try and center this on that. I'm just going to go ahead and stand up. Okay. And so it's a very faint look, which is what I wanted. Let's close that up for now. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in my stamp cleaner so that I can clean off my stamp immediately, so that the life of the stamps can, you know, be longer. We want to make sure that we maintain our stamps clean and healthy. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that aside and bring this back in. Okay, and then we're going to bring in Give Thanks for All Things stamp, and we're going to be using both the In Colors Stampin' Right markers, the 2014 to 2016 and the 2013 to 2015. And the markers that we're going to be using are the Mossy Meadow and the Baked Brown Sugar. Okay, and we can go ahead and start off with the thicker side, which is the brush. This has 2 ends, one that you can write with, or you know, line things out with a thinner line. But for this project, we're gonna go ahead and use the brush, and I'm going to brush the bottom half of this project, of this stamp, sorry. And I like to brush it across and up and down just to make sure that I get them fully inked up. And then we're going to do the same thing with this top portion. Okay, and so what I like to do to reactivate this is, if you notice on this stamp right here, the top portion, because I just inked it up, it's very shiny, and the bottom portion is drying up. And so what you want to do is you want to huff on it so that it reactivates the ink and it moistens it. So I'm going to do that 3 times. Okay, with hot air. And then I'm going to try and center this above that watermark and bring it straight up. And so we have that look. Sorry about the clarity. I thought I did fix the adjusting of the screen. Work on it using this stamp. We're once more gonna go ahead and bring in our baked brown sugar, and we're not gonna use the whole entire stamp. We're just going to use the edges. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp off once and then stamp, so it gives me a lighter look. Okay, stamp off once. Let's see, and then stamp. Okay, stamp off once and stamp, stamp off once, let's see, and stamp. And then we're gonna go ahead and this time use this side, but we're not going to stamp off. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and kind of work it in there with a darker look so that it gives it more dimension. So some are closer and some are further away. Let's see, some parts that are empty. Okay, and you may overlap, but remember, it's okay because you're not striving for perfection in this project. You just want it to look like you created something, you know, a nice work of art. And so it's not going to look the same as your previous project, but you will get a different look, and sometimes it's better than before. Okay, so just gonna end it right there, and then I'm gonna set this aside to dry. Okay, I'm gonna leave this open because we're going to work on that with the other scraps from the 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. We have 4 pieces, okay, that measure 1.5 by 3 inches. Okay, and so we're gonna go ahead and bring in our stamp here, and these are our acorns, and we're gonna go ahead and ink this up using the baked brown sugar, and then we're just going to have fun. Okay. going to bring in our Stampin' sponge here, and then we're going to go ahead and sponge up the edges of our layering here. I am so in love, you guys, with this gift box punch board, and really, if you don't have it, when you get it, it's just so much fun. I'm a teacher at my church, and my students, because they're teenagers now, they complained to me one time that because they were not in primary, in primary it goes up to age 11, and so they were complaining that because they were not 11 or younger, they didn't get treats anymore. And so I felt bad because, you know, a lot of them would just come from primary and they're so used to getting a treat. You know, sometimes they come to church by themselves, you know, they don't come with parents, they're the only members, and they'll come, you know, and just to get to church on time, they'll come hungry. So I like to be able to provide them with some snacks to help them, you know, feel better and wake up, because sometimes they come tired, and this will give them a little pick-me-up. So now that we're done with the layering, just want to make sure that I'm not missing out anything else. Okay, then we're just gonna go ahead and close this up just like that, and then bring in the sides. Okay, then you would just add in your little treats in there, and then close it up just like that. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in my ribbon here, and I'm gonna just run it through there, and I'm gonna keep it on the spool just because I don't want to waste any ribbon. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use the longer side to wrap it around and tie a bow. Okay, and so lately I've been able to make cute little bows, very simple, very fast, so I'm thankful for that. So I'm just gonna do it, cut it in the same way that you see it there. Alright, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring in our baker's twine and our tag here. We're gonna run that through the tag and then run that beneath the let's see, what can I get here? Okay, I'll bring in my bone folder, and we'll bring that right through there. Okay, put in our little tag right there, and then tie a little knot. And actually, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and snip it right there. That's enough for me to tie a little knot. Okay. Okay, and then you can just go ahead and snip it off a bit. And then to finish it off, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in some bling, and I'm gonna use my scissors here, and then I'm just gonna add it to right there. Okay, let's go ahead and fix my bow, and there we have it. We have our little treat box for Thanksgiving. So you can have the option of having the tall box using the same 8 by 8, or the shorter wider box. And so you have the two options that you can go by. I don't know if you noticed, but in this one I did also ink it up, but I also stamped some of the acorns as well. So you'll have a finished look for each. You know, you can have those two options to go from. So this has been my video using the punch board, the gift box punch board, and the For All Things stamp set. And so those are the two boxes that you can create making this stamp set. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and you have a blessed day. Bye now.